The morning alarm echoed through Kepler Station like a death song. In the research bay, Zara pressed her face against the cold metal floor and tried not to think about what was coming. The station floated in deep space, far from any planet. It was supposed to be a place where different alien races could work together and learn from each other. At least, that's what the signs said. But Zara knew better now. She was an Etherian. Her people had beautiful wings that shined with all the colors of the rainbow. When Etherians moved their wings, they could control gravity itself. They could fly through space without ships, dance in zero gravity, and create the most amazing art with light and movement. But Zara's wings were broken. Heavy footsteps came down the hall. She knew those sounds. First came Dr. Kellux, the Krillian scientist with his 6 thin arms and black eyes. Behind him walked the Vorthan guards with their thick tentacles and rough voices. They came every morning at the same time. "Good morning, subject," Dr. Kellux said in his cold voice. He never used her real name. To him, she was just something to study. Zara slowly stood up. Her wings hung behind her like torn sails. Yesterday's breaks had healed during the night, but she remembered every moment of pain. Her people could heal fast, which was supposed to be a gift. Here, it was a curse. "Please," she whispered. "I'll tell you anything you want to know. You don't have to break them again." Dr. Kellux made a sound like laughter, but there was no joy in it. "You cannot tell us what we need to learn. We must see how the bones break. We must watch how they heal. The hegemony pays very well for this knowledge." The hegemony was a group of warrior aliens who wanted to fight her people. They were buying information about how to hurt Etherians better, and these scientists were happy to sell it. The Vorthan guards grabbed her arms with their tentacles. Their skin felt like wet rope. They dragged her to the metal table in the center of the room. Cold straps held her down. She had stopped fighting long ago. Fighting only made them angry, and angry scientists hurt her worse. Dr. Kellux picked up his favorite tool. It looked like a metal stick with claws at the end. It was made just for breaking wing bones. He had used it on her 47 times. She counted each one. "Begin recording," he told his computer. Day 48 of regeneration testing. Subject shows expected healing of yesterday's fractures. The pain came fast and sharp. Zara bit her tongue to keep from screaming. She wouldn't give them that satisfaction anymore. The tool grabbed the thin bone in her left wing and twisted. She heard the crack echo in the room. "Excellent break formation," Dr. Kellux said, like he was talking about the weather. Moving to the secondary joint. Above them, something moved in the ceiling. Zara saw it through her tears. A small section of metal grating shifted just a tiny bit. But Dr. Kellux and his guards didn't notice. They were too busy with their work. The second break hurt worse than the first. Zara's vision went white with pain. When it cleared, she saw a face looking down through the grating. A small, round face with dark hair and worried eyes. It was a human face. Zara had heard about humans. They were new to space travel. Most aliens thought they were weak and stupid. They had no claws, no thick skin, no special powers. They were just small and soft. But this human was watching what happened to her. And the human's face showed something Zara hadn't seen in months. The human looked angry. Not angry at her, but angry for her. Dr. Kellux broke her third wing bone. This time, Zara did scream. The sound filled the room and made the Vorthan guards step back. Even they didn't like the sound of pure pain. When she looked up again, the human was gone. "That will be enough for today," Dr. Kellux said. He put down his tool and wiped his 6 hands clean. "The subject's healing rate appears consistent. We will continue tomorrow with stress testing of the larger bones." They left her on the table. The straps would release automatically in 1 hour, after her bones began to heal. Zara closed her eyes and tried to remember what her home looked like. She tried to remember flying through clouds of stardust with her family, spinning and dancing in the empty spaces between worlds. But the pain made it hard to remember good things. An hour later, the straps clicked open. Zara Eth slowly sat up and felt her bones knitting back together. It felt like fire crawling through her wings, but it was better than being broken. She walked to the small window in her cell. Outside, she could see the stars. Somewhere out there, her people were still free. They didn't know what was happening to her here. The scientists had told everyone that she was a volunteer exchange student. A small sound made her turn around. Someone had slipped a piece of paper under her door. She picked it up with shaking fingers. In simple words, someone had written, "I saw. I'm sorry. I will help." It was written in her own language. Someone had taken time to learn Etherian writing, just to tell her she wasn't alone. For the first time in 48 days, Zara Eth felt something other than fear and pain. She felt hope. Maya Chen couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the alien girl's broken wings and heard her scream. 3 days had passed since she first saw what was happening in the research bay, and she couldn't stop thinking about it. Maya was 16 years old and very far from home. She had come to Kepler Station as part of a training program for young engineers. Her job was to crawl through the small spaces inside the station walls and fix things that broke. It was dirty work that most aliens couldn't do because they were too big. Being small had always made Maya feel weak, but now she realized it might be useful. She spent her days in the air vents and maintenance tunnels, listening and learning. The station was like a small city with thousands of beings from dozens of different worlds. Most of them ignored her completely. To them, humans were just another species of worker, like space rats that happened to be useful. Maya used this to her advantage. She crawled through spaces above important rooms and listened to conversations. She learned that Dr. Kellogg wasn't working alone. There were other scientists doing the same terrible things to other aliens. In Research Bay 2, they had a young Crystallian whose people could turn their bodies into living glass. Every day, they smashed him with hammers to see how he healed. In Bay 3, they kept a mindweaver whose species could read thoughts. They were trying to break his mind to understand how his powers worked. And in Bay 4, they had 3 more Etherians. Maya learned all their names by listening to the computers. The Crystallian was called Prism. The Mindweaver was Thought Singer. The other Etherians were Wind Dancer, Skyheart, and Stormwing. All young, like Zara Eth. All taken from their families and brought here as students. The worst part was learning why this was happening. Late one night, Maya hid in the ceiling above Dr. Kellogg's office and heard him talking to someone on a video call. "The hegemony is very pleased with our progress," said the voice from the screen. Maya couldn't see the speaker, but the voice sounded like grinding metal. "The anatomical data you've provided will help us end the Etherian threat, once and for all." Dr. Kellogg's 6 arms moved in what Maya guessed was happiness. "We will have complete skeletal breakdown patterns within the month, and the psychological breaking points should be mapped shortly after." "Excellent. The High Command authorizes payment of 50 million credits. Continue the work." Maya felt sick. They weren't just hurting these aliens to learn about them. They were learning how to destroy entire species. And they were being paid huge amounts of money to do it. She tried to report what she had learned. Maya went to Station Commander Vex, a tall Centaurian with 4 eyes and a reputation for fairness. She told him everything she had seen and heard. Commander Vex listened with all 4 eyes focused on her. When she finished, he was quiet for a long time. "These are serious accusations," he finally said. "Do you have any proof?" Maya showed him the recordings she had made on her work tablet. Video of the torture sessions, audio of Dr. Kellogg's conversations, pictures of the broken aliens. Commander Vex looked at everything carefully. Then he deleted it all. "You must be mistaken," he said in a cold voice. "Dr. Kellogg's is conducting vital research that benefits all species. Perhaps your young human mind cannot understand the complexity of advanced science." Maya stared at him. "But you saw the recordings. You heard them talking about killing entire species." "I saw nothing," Commander Vex said. His 4 eyes narrowed to thin lines. "And if you continue to spread these lies, there will be consequences. Humans are guests here, child. Unwelcome guests can be sent home, or they can have accidents." Maya left the commander's office with her hands shaking. She realized that the corruption went all the way to the top. Nobody was going to help these aliens, except her. That night, Maya broke into the station's medical computer system. It wasn't hard. She was good with computers, and most aliens still thought humans were too stupid to be dangerous. She downloaded everything she could find about Krillian and Vorthan biology. She learned which parts of their bodies were most sensitive to pain, where their nerve centers were located, how their bones broke and what made them weak. If she was going to help the prisoners, she needed to know how to fight their captors. Maya also studied Etherian culture and language. She used the station's translation programs to learn basic words and phrases. It took her 3 days of studying to write that simple note to Zara Eth. Over the next week, Maya began preparing. She used her access to the station's workshop to build small devices. A sonic disruptor that could overload Krillian nervous systems. A gravity pulse generator that could make Vorthans lose their balance. Simple tools made from spare parts that nobody would miss. She also mapped every inch of the station. Maya knew which air vents led where, which power conduits controlled what systems, and how to move through the walls without being seen. Most importantly, she started leaving small gifts for the prisoners. Little notes saying she was working on a plan. Bits of food from species-specific dietary programs. Pictures of their home worlds that she found in the computer files. She wanted them to know that someone cared. Someone was coming to help, but Maya also knew that when she acted, it had to be perfect. She would only get one chance. After that, the station's security would be looking for her, and Commander Vex would make sure she disappeared. On the 14th night after first seeing Zara Eth's torture, Maya finished her preparations. Tomorrow morning, when Dr. Kellux came for his daily session of breaking wings and spirits, he would find out what happened when someone hurt people that Maya Chen had decided to protect. She just hoped she was brave enough to go through with it. Maya's hands shook as she watched Dr. Kellux pick up a new tool. This one was bigger than the bone breaker he usually used. It looked like it could cut through metal. Today we begin Phase 2 of the regeneration study, Dr. Kellux announced to his recording device. We will test the subject's ability to regrow major organs. Maya felt her stomach drop. She was hidden in the air vent above Research Bay 1, watching through the metal grating. Below her, Zara Eth was strapped to the table again. But this time, there were more scientists in the room, more guards, more tools. Dr. Kellux moved the cutting tool toward Zara Eth's chest. We will begin with lung tissue removal. Etherians have 2 hearts, so the subject should survive the procedure. No, Maya whispered into her hands. She had been planning to wait 2 more days. Her preparations weren't finished, but she couldn't watch them cut out pieces of Zara Eth and call it science. Zara Eth looked up at the ceiling. Her eyes found Maya's face through the grating. The alien girl's lips moved silently, forming words in her own language. Maya had studied enough Etherian to understand. Don't watch. Please don't watch. Even now, after weeks of torture, Zara Eth was trying to protect Maya from seeing something terrible. Maya pressed her face against the metal grating and whispered back in broken Etherian. I stop this. Today, be ready. Zara Eth's eyes went wide. She shook her head slightly, trying to tell Maya not to do anything dangerous. But Maya had already made her choice. Dr. Kellux started the cutting tool. It made a high whining sound. Maya pulled back from the grating and began crawling through the vents as fast as she could. She had work to do. First, Maya went to the main power control room. She had spent 2 weeks learning how the station's systems worked. Every light, every computer, every life support system was controlled from this room, and Maya had already programmed in exactly what she needed. She connected her homemade device to the main computer. Lines of code began running across the screen. In 20 minutes, every system on the station would begin failing in a very specific order. The lights would cut out first, then the cameras, then the communication systems. By the time anyone figured out what was happening, it would be too late. Next, Maya crawled to the weapons locker. As an engineer, she had access to cutting tools and repair equipment. But she needed real weapons for what was coming. The security system was connected to the main computer, which meant her program would unlock it in exactly 18 minutes. Maya checked her watch. 17 minutes now. She crawled through the vents toward Research Bay 4, where the 3 other Etherians were kept. She had to warn them that something was about to happen. If her plan worked, she would need them to be ready to run. Through the grating, she could see Wind Dancer, Skyheart, and Stormwing huddled together in their cell. All 3 had broken wings that hung at strange angles. The scientists here had been using electric shocks to stop their healing instead of just breaking them over and over. Maya dropped a small note through the grating. It landed near Wind Dancer's foot. The Etherian looked up and saw Maya's face. "When lights go dark, run to main hangar," Maya whispered in her bad Etherian. "Ship waiting. Go home." Wind Dancer picked up the note and read it quickly. Her eyes filled with something Maya hadn't seen in any of the prisoners before. Not hope. Exactly. But determination. 15 minutes left. Maya crawled toward Research Bay 2, where Prism was kept. The young Crystallian was unconscious on his table. His body was covered in cracks from the daily hammer tests. Maya couldn't wake him up without alerting the guards, so she left another note where he would see it when he woke up. 13 minutes. Research Bay 3 held Thoughtsinger, the young Mindweaver. This was the most dangerous stop for Maya. Mindweavers could read thoughts, and if he sensed her presence, he might accidentally alert the guards. But when Maya looked through the grating, she saw that Thoughtsinger's eyes were covered with a metal band. They had blinded him to stop him from using his powers. "Friend above," Thoughtsinger whispered without looking up. "I feel your anger. It burns like a star." Maya was surprised. "You can read my mind?" "Through the metal, no. But emotions are stronger. You plan to fight for us." His voice was weak but certain. "Many will try to stop you. I cannot see your thoughts. But I can give you something else." Thoughtsinger reached up toward the grating. When Maya touched his hand, she suddenly felt completely calm. The shaking in her hands stopped. Her fear disappeared, not gone completely, but pushed aside by a feeling of absolute certainty. "Now you think clearly," he said. "Good luck, friend Maya." Maya stared at him. She had never told him her name. 10 minutes. Maya made her way to the weapons locker, just as her program unlocked it. She took what she needed. A plasma cutter that could slice through almost anything, a force shield generator that would protect her from energy weapons, and most importantly, a gravity manipulator that maintenance workers used to move heavy equipment. 8 minutes. Maya's last stop was the communication center. She needed to record a message that would go out to every ship in the area when the station's systems came back online. The truth about what was happening here had to reach the outside world. She sat down at the main communication console and started recording. "This is Maya Chen, human engineer on Kepler Station. What I'm about to show you is happening right now in the research bays. Scientists are torturing young aliens and selling the information to groups who want to destroy entire species." Maya uploaded all the evidence she had collected. Videos of the torture sessions, audio recordings of Dr. Kellock's conversations, medical files showing the systematic torture of the prisoners. "If something happens to me," Maya continued, "make sure the prisoners get home safely. Their names are Zara-Eth, Wind Dancer, Skyheart, Stormwing, Prism, and Thoughtsinger. They are children, and they have been hurt enough." 5 minutes. Maya crawled through the vents one last time, heading back to Research Bay 1. Below her, Dr. Kellock's had moved from Zara-Eth's chest to her wing. He was explaining to the other scientists how Etherian bone structure was different from other species. Maya checked her equipment one final time. Plasma cutter charged. Force shield ready. Gravity manipulator programmed. Sonic disruptor set to maximum. 3 minutes. She positioned herself directly above the examination table. Through the grating, she could see the top of Dr. Kellock's head. His 6 arms moved as he prepared to make another cut. 2 minutes. Maya thought about her parents back on Earth. They would be proud of her for standing up to bullies, but they would also be terrified. She might not survive the next few minutes. The station had hundreds of guards, and she was just one small human girl with improvised weapons. But looking down at Zara-Eth's broken form, Maya knew she couldn't live with herself if she didn't try. 1 minute. Zara Eth looked up at the grating again. This time, she smiled. Just a tiny movement of her lips. But it was the first time Maya had seen any of the prisoners smile. The lights went out. Maya kicked through the grating and dropped into the darkness below. It was time to show the galaxy what happened when someone hurt people that Maya Chen had decided to protect. Maya fell through darkness and hit the examination table hard. The sound of her landing mixed with shouts of surprise from the scientists and guards around her. Red emergency lights flickered on, casting everything in blood-colored shadows. What is this? Dr. Kellix's voice was sharp with anger. Guards! Secure the intruder. Maya rolled off the table and activated her force shield just as a Vorthan guard swung his electric club at her head. The weapon hit the energy barrier and sparked harmlessly away. Hello, Dr. Kellix, Maya said, standing up slowly. Her voice was steady, thanks to Thought Singer's gift of calmness. I've been wanting to talk to you. The Krillian scientist's 6 arms moved in agitation. A human child? How did you get in here? Guards, remove this pest immediately. 2 more Vorthans moved toward Maya. These aliens were twice her height and covered in thick, gray skin. Their tentacle arms were strong enough to crush metal. But Maya had studied their biology carefully. She pulled out her sonic disruptor and pointed it at the nearest guard. The device made a high-pitched whine that hurt Maya's ears. But it did much worse to the Vorthon. The alien stumbled backward, holding his head and making terrible groaning sounds. Vorthans used sonic vibrations to communicate with each other. The disruptor overloaded their hearing organs and made them temporarily deaf and dizzy. The second guard tried to grab Maya from behind. She spun around and hit him in the nerve cluster at the base of his neck with her plasma cutter's handle. The Vorthan dropped like a stone. Impossible, Dr. Kellix said. His black eyes were wide with shock. You're just a maintenance worker. A child. Maya walked toward him slowly. I'm the maintenance worker who's been watching you torture my friends for weeks. I know exactly what you've been doing here. Dr. Kellix pressed a button on his wrist communicator. Nothing happened. Maya smiled. The communication system is down, she said. So is the security system. And the cameras. And the locks on all the prison cells. By now, your other prisoners are probably already free. It was true. As the lights had gone out, Maya's program had unlocked every cell in the research section. If the other aliens were smart, they would be running toward the main hangar, where Maya had prepared an escape ship. Dr. Kellix backed away from her. But Maya had planned for this too. She activated the gravity manipulator, and suddenly the Krillian scientist couldn't move his feet. The device created a gravity field that pinned him to the floor. Please, Dr. Kellix said. You don't understand. This research is important. It will save lives. Whose lives? Maya asked. She picked up the bone-breaking tool that had tortured Zara Eth so many times. The hegemony soldiers who want to kill entire species? Dr. Kellix's 6 arms trembled. That's classified information. How could you possibly know about that? Maya didn't answer. Instead, she looked at the bone breaker in her hands. It was heavy and cold. She understood now why Zara Eth was so afraid of it. Do you know what this feels like? Maya asked Dr. Kellix. The scientist shook his head rapidly. Please. I was just following orders. The station commander approved all of this research. I know, Maya said. I've already dealt with Commander Vex too. This was only partly true. Maya's program had locked the commander in his office and sent evidence of his corruption to the Galactic Council. But she let Dr. Kellix think something worse had happened. Maya raised the bone breaker above Dr. Kellix's thin arms. For a moment, she imagined bringing it down and hearing the same crack that Zara Eth heard every morning. She imagined making him feel what it was like to be broken and helpless. But when she looked at Zara Eth, still strapped to the table, the alien girl shook her head slightly. Not like them, Zara Eth whispered in her own language. Maya understood. If she became like the torturers, then she would be no better than them. Instead, she turned the bone breaker around and used the handle to hit Dr. Kellogg's manipulator arms in exactly the right spots to fracture them without doing permanent damage. The scientist screamed and collapsed. His arms hung at odd angles, but they would heal. Unlike his victims, he would not have to endure the same pain every day for weeks. That's for 48 days of torture, Maya said. The last Vorthan guard finally recovered from the sonic attack. He pulled out an energy pistol and pointed it at Maya. "Drop your weapons, human," he growled. "You've caused enough trouble." Maya turned toward him and smiled. "No, I haven't even started yet." She activated the plasma cutter and sliced through the power cable that fed the examination table's restraints. The straps holding Zara-Eth clicked open automatically. The Vorthan fired his energy weapon. The beam hit Maya's force shield and scattered harmlessly. "My turn," Maya said. She adjusted the plasma cutter to its widest setting and swept it across the room. The beam cut through the guard's weapon, the torture tools on the examination table, and the computers that recorded all the terrible experiments. But Maya's real target was the environmental control system. Her plasma beam sliced through the wall panels and cut the air recycling tubes. Immediately, the room began losing atmosphere. Maya pulled a breathing mask from her belt and put it on. She had prepared for this. The aliens hadn't. "You're insane," the Vorthan guard gasped as the air grew thin. "You'll kill us all." Maya walked over to the room's control panel. "I've sealed all the exits except one," she said through her mask. "If you want to live, you'll do exactly what I tell you, Doctor." Kellogg's was turning blue from lack of oxygen. "What do you want? First, you're going to unlock all the other research bays and free every prisoner on this station. Then you're going to record a full confession of what you've been doing here. And finally, you're going to make sure that every one of your victims gets home safely." The Vorthan guard was already moving toward the control panel. Lack of air made aliens panic much faster than humans. Yes, we'll do whatever you want." Maya watched as they unlocked the remaining cells and sent emergency signals to stop any remaining torture sessions. On the security monitors that still worked, she could see other aliens running through the corridors toward the main hangar. "Good," Maya said. She reactivated the air system and took off her breathing mask. "Now for the confession." Dr. Kellogg's, gasping for breath, looked at her with his 6 black eyes. "Who are you really?" Maya helped Zara-Eth sit up on the examination table. The Etherian's wings were still broken, but there was something different in her eyes now. She looked like someone who remembered how to hope. "I'm nobody special," Maya said. "I'm just a human girl who doesn't like bullies." She handed Zara-Eth a small device. "This will translate your words into every language in the galaxy. Tell them what happened here. Tell them everything." As Zara-Eth began to speak into the translator, Maya realized that this was just the beginning. Word of what happened on Kepler Station would spread throughout space. Other humans would hear about it, and maybe, just maybe, they would start standing up too. Maya had learned something important today. Size didn't matter. Strength didn't matter. What mattered was being willing to do the right thing. Even when it scared you, especially when it scared you, the galaxy was about to learn what humans were really capable of when someone hurt the people they had decided to protect. 3 months later, Maya stood on the observation deck of the Etherian ship Starwind and watched her new home grow larger in the view screen. It wasn't Earth, but it was beautiful in its own way. The planet below them had floating cities that moved like dancers through clouds of silver and gold. Etherians flew between the cities in great flocks, their wings catching sunlight and throwing rainbows across the sky. "Are you nervous?" Zara-Eth asked, walking up beside her. Maya looked at her friend and smiled. Zara-Eth's wings had grown back stronger and more beautiful than before. The doctors said this sometimes happened after serious injuries. The wings became more colorful, more powerful, as if the body was determined to prove it couldn't be broken. "A little," Maya admitted. "I've never been to an alien world before, and I definitely never thought I'd be getting a medal from the Etherian Council." Zara-Eth laughed. It was a sound like wind chimes singing. "You saved not just us, but thousands of other aliens who might have been hurt in the future. You deserve more than a medal." On laughed about, Sarah laughed about. The news of what happened on Kepler station had spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Maya's recording had been broadcast on every news network. The video of a small human girl standing up to alien torturers had been watched by billions of beings. Dr. Kellux and his team were in prison now, along with Commander Vex and dozens of other station officials. The hegemony's plans to attack the Etherians had collapsed when their secret research was exposed, and hundreds of other illegal research projects had been shut down across the galaxy. But the most important change was how other species looked at humans now. Maya called, a gentle voice from across the observation deck. Maya turned to see Thoughtseinger approaching. The young Mindweaver wore a simple robe, and his eyes were uncovered now. He could see and use his powers again, though he was very careful about reading people's thoughts without permission. "I wanted to thank you again," he said. "What's that?" Maya asked. "How someone can choose to be brave even when they're terrified," Thoughtseinger replied. "When I touched your mind that day, I felt your fear. You were more scared than any of us prisoners. But you acted anyway." Maya thought about that. She had been scared, terrified, actually. But seeing her friends hurt had made her anger stronger than her fear. "I heard from Wind Dancer yesterday," Zara said, changing the subject. "She's fully recovered and back with her family. And Prism sent a hologram message. He's working with human engineers now, teaching them how Crystallian technology works. Real partnership, not the fake kind," Maya nodded. All 6 of the rescued aliens had recovered, both physically and mentally. But more than that, they had become ambassadors between their species and humanity. Stormwing and Skyheart were working with human doctors to develop new healing techniques. Thoughtseinger was teaching human counselors how to help people with mental trauma. And Prism was sharing Crystallian, crystal-growing technology with Earth's scientists. "The ship is preparing to land," announced the Starwind's captain over the communication system. As they descended toward the planet's surface, Maya thought about everything that had changed. The rescue on Kepler station had been just the beginning. When humans across the galaxy heard what one girl had done, they started acting too. Human traders began refusing to work with companies that hurt aliens. Human engineers began sharing their knowledge freely instead of selling it to the highest bidder. Human soldiers began protecting other species instead of just fighting for human interests. It was like Maya had lit a candle, and the light had spread from person to person until it became a blazing fire of compassion that reached across the stars. The ship landed in a crystal courtyard surrounded by floating spires. When Maya walked down the boarding ramp, she saw thousands of Etherians waiting to greet her. Their wings created a symphony of color as they moved in the gentle breeze. At the front of the crowd stood 3 elderly Etherians, wearing robes that seemed to be made of captured starlight. These were the Council Elders, the leaders of all Etherian space. The center elder stepped forward and spoke in accented but clear human English. "Maya Chen of Earth," she said in a voice like singing crystal. "On behalf of all Etherian people, we thank you for your courage and compassion. You have shown us that the size of someone's heart matters more than the size of their body." The elder held out a small object that looked like a piece of crystallized rainbow. "This is a song of the stars," she explained. "It is our people's most precious gift. It holds the music of our home system's solar winds. We give it to you so that no matter how far you travel, you will always carry a piece of our world with you." Maya accepted the gift with trembling hands. When her fingers touched the crystal, she heard the most beautiful sound she had ever experienced. It was like whale songs and violin music and her mother's lullabies all mixed together. "Thank you," Maya whispered. "But I don't deserve this. I just did what anyone would do." The elder smiled. "That is exactly why you deserve it, child. You saw suffering and chose to stop it, even though it cost you greatly. You gave up your home, your family, and your safety to help strangers. That is the rarest kind of courage in the galaxy." Maya looked out at the crowd of Etherians, and beyond them, at the floating cities full of beings who were now free to live and grow and dream without fear. She thought about her parents on Earth, who had been proud but worried when she decided to stay in space, and continue helping other species. She thought about Kepler Station, which had been turned into a memorial and education center where young beings from all species could learn about cooperation instead of exploitation. And she thought about all the other humans who were out there right now, standing up to bullies and protecting the weak, and showing the galaxy what humanity was really about. "I have a question," Maya said to the elder. "Ask anything you wish, child. What happens now? I mean, I know this is just the beginning. There are still bad people out there hurting others. There are still wars and slavery and terrible things happening. What do we do about all of that?" The elder's smile became even warmer. "We do what you taught us to do, Maya Chen. We stand up. We help each other. And we remember that even the smallest person can make the biggest difference." Maya nodded and looked up at the sky, where human and alien ships flew side by side, through clouds painted with rainbow light. She was just one girl. But one girl had been enough to change everything. And if one girl could do that, imagine what could happen when millions of people decided to care about each other. The galaxy was about to find out. As the celebration began around her, with Etherian singers filling the air with joy and her rescued friends surrounding her with love, Maya made a promise to herself. She would keep standing up. She would keep helping. And she would never, ever, stop believing that kindness was stronger than cruelty, even when it seemed impossible. Especially when it seemed impossible. Because someone had to be willing to try, and Maya Chen had learned that someone might as well be her.